They told her the void was empty, that nothing could exist there, no matter, no stars, not even time itself. They told her that no one who crossed its threshold had ever returned. Yet, when Commander Ilara Vey stood at the edge of the event horizon, staring into the unfathomable black expanse, she felt something. A presence, a whisper, the infinite void. For centuries, it had been treated as a graveyard of lost expeditions. Entire fleets had vanished in its embrace, swallowed whole by a silence so absolute it seemed to mock the idea of existence itself. No sensor could penetrate it. No probe had ever transmitted data from within. To step into it was to step beyond the reach of civilization and beyond the reach of life. But Ilara was not like the others. Her mission had begun not as a choice, but as an exile. The Council of the Orion Union had branded her a traitor after she disobeyed a direct order that would have led to the slaughter of thousands on a border colony. She had chosen mercy, and mercy had cost her everything: her career, her rank, her future. They offered her one chance at redemption, or perhaps one final punishment. She was to take a lone vessel, the Ethon, and chart the infinite void. But no one expected her to return. As the Ethon slipped past the edge, Ilara watched the stars vanish one by one. Space itself seemed to fold inward, swallowing every trace of light. Within minutes, the universe outside her viewport was gone. Then came the silence. Not the silence of space. She had long grown used to that, but a silence deeper, heavier, more oppressive. Even the hum of her ship's systems seemed muted, like the void was devouring sound itself. "Computer," she said, forcing calm into her voice. "Begin full spectrum scans." "Scanning," the ship's AI replied. But the screens returned nothing. Every wavelength, every frequency, every probe, it was as if the sensors were trying to measure a dream. That was when she heard it. A voice. Soft, faint, almost imperceptible. "Ilara." Her breath caught. "Computer, confirm audio anomaly." "No anomaly detected," the AI responded. But the voice had been clear. It had spoken her name. As days passed, or what she assumed were days in the void, there was no reference for time. She slept in brief cycles, but each time she awoke, the voice returned. Closer, clearer. "You are not the first," it said, "to cross the infinite silence, but you may be the last." Ilara recorded everything. "This is Commander Ilara Vey, log entry, unknown. I am encountering what can only be described as an external intelligence. It communicates not through sound, but through thought shaped into words. I cannot explain how, but it knows me." The void was not empty. It was alive. Each whisper pulled fragments of memory to the surface. Her childhood on Titan, where she would stare at Saturn's rings and dream of the stars. The day she swore an oath to protect the innocent, even when it meant defying orders. The look on the Council's faces when she chose mercy over war. The voice seemed to know her choices, her fears, her regrets, and in its knowing she felt both exposed and comforted. Then one cycle she dreamed, or thought she did. She saw shapes in the darkness, shadows of ships long vanished, their hulls intact yet ghostly. She heard voices, countless voices, layered upon one another like echoes across eternity. When she awoke, the visions did not fade. The shadows were still there outside the viewport, drifting silently around her ship. "Computer," she whispered, "confirm visual anomalies." "No anomalies detected," the AI said again, but Ilara saw them. She saw faces at the windows of phantom vessels, eyes wide in silent screams, frozen in eternal witness. She realized then the void did not destroy. It preserved. It kept everything that entered it, every expedition, every soul, every thought, like a library of memories. And now it was speaking through them. "We are not your enemy," the voices said together. We are what remains when the universe forgets. We are the echoes of all who crossed the infinite void. Ilara's heart pounded. The void was not a graveyard. It was a consciousness built from the countless who had entered it. A chorus of the lost, seeking someone who could carry their truth. Finally, the voice grew singular again. "Ilara Vey," it asked, "why did you come?" Her throat was dry. She had no script, no mission parameters for this. "Because they sent me," she whispered. "Because they wanted me gone. Because they thought I had no place left." "And do you seek to return?" Ilara closed her eyes. The Council had betrayed her. The galaxy had no use for her mercy, her principles, her defiance. But here in the darkness, she was heard. She was known. "Yes," she said finally. "I seek to return, because even if they cast me out, humanity deserves to know what you are. That the void is not death, but memory. Not silence, but a voice." For a long moment there was nothing. Then the darkness shifted. The shadows drew back, and light, faint at first, then growing, pierced the horizon. "Then you shall be our messenger," the void answered. "Carry us back. Let them know the silence is never empty." The Ethon emerged from the void like a star reborn. Sensors roared back to life, flooding the ship with data. The galaxy stretched before her, impossibly bright after the darkness. Ilara slumped in her chair, tears streaking her face. She had crossed the infinite void and returned. But she was not alone. In her mind, in her heart, she carried the whispers of countless souls. They spoke to her still, softly, like a chorus waiting to be heard. When she transmitted her log to the Orion Union, the Council fell into silence. They had expected her to vanish, another casualty of the void. Instead, she had brought back the impossible, the proof that the void was alive. But Ilara knew this was only the beginning, because when she closed her eyes, she felt the void watching, waiting, listening. And sometimes, in the quiet between breaths, it answered again.